The rain hammered against the windows of our Chicago apartment, mirroring the storm brewing inside me. For 20 years, Brennon, a graphic designer, I'd built a life with my wife, Elowen. We met in college, two art students with shared dreams and a naive belief in forever. Now, at 46, forever felt like a cruel joke. The first sign was subtle: Elowen's increased protectiveness of her phone. She'd always been open, sharing everything, but lately her phone was glued to her hand, screen down, notifications silenced. When I entered a room, she'd quickly minimize whatever she was doing. I chalked it up to a new project at work, something confidential. Elowen worked as a marketing manager for a large pharmaceutical company, a demanding job that often kept her late. But then came the late nights that stretched later, the business trips that seemed more frequent, and the vague explanations that didn't quite add up. One Tuesday, Elowen told me she had a conference in Denver, a 3-day affair. I kissed her goodbye at the door, a quick peck on the cheek that felt distant. As soon as she left, a nagging feeling settled in my stomach. It wasn't just suspicion. It was a deep-seated unease, a sense that something fundamental had shifted in our marriage. I tried to shake it off, immersing myself in work, but the feeling persisted, gnawing at me. That evening, I decided to surprise Elowen by cleaning out her car. It was a small gesture, something I hadn't done in a while. As I rummaged through the glove compartment, searching for the registration, my fingers brushed against a small, velvet box. My heart skipped a beat. It couldn't be. Elowen and I had celebrated our 20th anniversary last year. I slowly opened the box. Inside, nestled on satin, was a diamond necklace, far more extravagant than anything I could afford. A small card lay beneath it. I unfolded it, my hands trembling. To Elowen, my shining star, thank you for making every moment unforgettable. With all my love, Kyler. Kyler. The name hit me like a punch to the gut. Who was Kyler? My mind raced, trying to make sense of it. An old friend, a colleague, or something more. The rain outside intensified, mirroring the tempest inside me. I slammed the glove compartment shut, the sound echoing in the silent garage. I went back inside, the necklace box clutched in my hand. I needed answers. I waited until midnight, pacing the living room, the necklace box a heavy weight in my pocket. Sleep was impossible. Every minute felt like an eternity. Finally, I couldn't take it anymore. I grabbed my laptop and started digging. I searched Elowen's company directory, social media, anything that could lead me to Kyler. After hours of fruitless searching, I was about to give up when I stumbled upon a LinkedIn profile. Kyler Morrow, marketing director at a rival pharmaceutical company. His picture was there, a handsome man with a confident smile. My blood ran cold. I clicked through his profile, my hands shaking. Then I saw it, a post from 3 days ago, a picture of Kyler at a marketing conference in Chicago. My Chicago. Elowen had lied. She wasn't in Denver. She was here in our city with another man. The realization hit me with devastating force. I felt like I couldn't breathe, my chest constricting with pain and anger. The next morning, I barely slept. I feigned normalcy, going through the motions of my morning routine. I made coffee, ate breakfast, and even managed a weak smile when our neighbor, Milo, waved from across the street. But inside, I was a volcano, ready to erupt. I knew I couldn't confront Elowen without proof. I needed to know the extent of her betrayal. So I decided to play detective. I called in sick to work, claiming a migraine. Then I did something I never thought I was capable of. I hired a private investigator. His name was August, a grizzled man with a sharp eye and a no-nonsense attitude. I met him at a coffee shop downtown, showed him the necklace, and told him everything. August listened intently, his expression unreadable. "I'll need a retainer," he said, sliding a contract across the table. "And I'll need as much information as you can give me about this Kyler Morrow." I paid the retainer without hesitation. I was desperate for the truth, no matter the cost. For the next 3 days, August worked tirelessly. He tracked Elowen's movements, monitored her phone calls, and even managed to get pictures of her and Kyler together. The evidence was damning. They were having an affair, a full-blown, passionate affair. August presented me with a thick file filled with photos and transcripts. There they were, Elowen and Kyler, holding hands, kissing, laughing together like two teenagers. The photos were like daggers to my heart, each one twisting deeper than the last. I stayed up all night, poring over the evidence, my mind reeling. I couldn't believe it. Elowen, the woman I loved, the woman I trusted, had betrayed me in the worst possible way. The transcripts of their phone calls were even more devastating. They talked about their feelings for each other, their plans for the future, their desire to be together. Elowen told Kyler that she was unhappy in our marriage, that she felt trapped and unfulfilled. She said she loved him, that he made her feel alive again. Those words echoed in my head, each one a fresh wound. I felt like I didn't know Elowen anymore. Who was this woman? Was she the same woman I had married, the woman I had built a life with? Or was she a stranger, a fraud? The next day, Elowen returned from her conference. She walked through the door with a bright smile, her eyes sparkling. "Hi, honey, I missed you," she said, throwing her arms around me. I stiffened, pulling away slightly. I couldn't bear to touch her, not after everything I knew. "How was Denver?" I asked, my voice flat. Elowen's smile faltered. "Oh, it was fine. Lots of meetings, lots of presentations. You know how it is." "No, Elowen, I don't know how it is," I said, my voice rising. "Because you weren't in Denver, were you?" Her eyes widened, her face paling. "What are you talking about?" "I know about Kyler," I said, my voice trembling with anger. "I know about the necklace, the phone calls, the lies." Elowen's face crumpled, tears streamed down her cheeks. "Brennon, I can explain," she sobbed. "There's nothing to explain," I said, my voice cold. "I've seen the pictures, read the transcripts. It's over, Elowen, we're done." She sank to her knees, begging for forgiveness. "Please, Brennon, don't do this. I made a mistake. I still love you." "Love?" I scoffed. "You have a strange way of showing it." I turned and walked away, leaving her sobbing on the floor. I went into the bedroom and started packing. I didn't know where I was going, but I knew I couldn't stay there, not another minute. As I packed, my mind raced. I thought about the past 20 years, the memories we had shared, the dreams we had built together. It all felt like a lie now, a carefully constructed facade that had crumbled to dust. I thought about our friends, our family, the life we had created. How could she do this? How could she throw it all away for a fleeting affair? I thought about the future we had planned together. Vacations, retirement, grandchildren, all gone, all shattered. I felt a deep sense of loss, a profound sadness that threatened to consume me. But beneath the sadness, there was also anger, a burning rage that demanded justice. I finished packing and grabbed my suitcase. As I walked out the door, I paused and looked back at Elowen, still sobbing on the floor. "I want you out of here by the end of the month," I said, my voice devoid of emotion. "And I want a divorce." Then I closed the door and walked away, leaving my old life behind. The next few weeks were a blur. I moved into a small apartment downtown, a temporary space that felt cold and impersonal. I hired a lawyer and started the divorce proceedings. Elowen tried to contact me, to apologize, to explain, but I refused to speak to her. I couldn't bear to hear her voice, to see her face. My friends and family were supportive, offering words of comfort and encouragement, but nothing could fill the void inside me. I felt like a part of me had died, a part that I would never get back. As the divorce progressed, I learned more about Elowen's affair. It had been going on for months, maybe even years. She had been living a double life, deceiving me and everyone around her. I also learned that Kyler was married with 2 children. He was just as much of a liar and a cheat as Elowen. The thought of them together betraying their spouses filled me with disgust. I wanted to lash out, to expose them, to make them pay for what they had done, but my lawyer advised against it. "The best revenge is to move on and be happy," he said. "Don't waste your energy on them. Focus on yourself." His words resonated with me. I knew he was right. I couldn't let Elowen and Kyler ruin my life. I had to find a way to heal, to move on, to rebuild. So I started focusing on myself. I went back to my passion, graphic design, throwing myself into my work. I took up new hobbies like hiking and photography. I spent more time with my friends and family, reconnecting with people I had neglected during my marriage. Slowly, gradually, I started to heal. The pain didn't disappear completely, but it became more manageable. I started to see a future for myself, a future that didn't involve Elowen. One day, I received a call from August, the private investigator. "I have some information you might be interested in," he said. I met him at the same coffee shop where we had first met. He slid a file across the table. "I did some digging into Kyler Morrow," he said. "Turns out he's not as successful as he seems." I opened the file and started reading. It turned out that Kyler's company was in financial trouble. He had been embezzling funds, using them to finance his lavish lifestyle and his affair with Elowen. The company was about to be audited and Kyler was facing serious charges. "He's going down," August said with a smirk, "and he's taking Elowen with him." I felt a flicker of satisfaction. They were getting what they deserved, but it didn't bring me the joy I expected. It didn't erase the pain or the betrayal, it was just justice. A few weeks later, I received another call, this time from Elowen. She was desperate, her voice trembling with fear. "Brennon, please, you have to help me," she begged. "Kyler's in trouble and I'm involved. They're saying I knew about the embezzlement." "Why should I help you, Elowen?" I asked, my voice cold. "You betrayed me, you lied to me, you ruined our life." "I know, Brennon, and I am so sorry," she sobbed. "But I am scared. I don't want to go to jail." I hesitated. A part of me wanted to hang up, to let her suffer the consequences of her actions. But another part of me, the part that still remembered the woman I had loved, couldn't bear to see her destroyed. "I'll see what I can do," I said, my voice softening slightly. I contacted my lawyer and asked him to look into Elowen's situation. He advised me to stay out of it, that helping her could jeopardize my own legal standing. But I couldn't ignore her plea. I had to do something. After several weeks of negotiations, my lawyer managed to strike a deal with the prosecution. Elowen would testify against Kyler and cooperate with the investigation in exchange for a reduced sentence. It wasn't a perfect solution, but it was the best we could do. Kyler was arrested and charged with multiple counts of embezzlement and fraud. He faced years in prison. Elowen testified against him, providing damning evidence that sealed his fate. She was spared jail time, but her reputation was ruined. She lost her job, her friends, and her family. She was ostracized and alone. I watched from afar as her life crumbled. I didn't feel any satisfaction, only a deep sense of sadness. She had made her choices and she had to live with the consequences. The divorce was finalized a few months later. I walked out of the courtroom a free man, but I didn't feel free. I felt empty, hollow. I had lost everything, my wife, my home, my future. But I also gained something, a new perspective, a new appreciation for life. I realized that I couldn't let the past define me. I had to move on, to rebuild, to find happiness again. It wasn't easy. There were days when I felt overwhelmed by sadness and despair. But I kept pushing forward, one step at a time. I focused on my work, my hobbies, my friends, and my family. I traveled, I learned new things, I met new people. Slowly, gradually, I started to heal. Years passed. I never remarried, but I found companionship and happiness in other ways. I built a successful career, traveled the world, and made lasting memories. I learned to forgive Elowen, not for her sake, but for my own. I realized that holding onto anger and resentment was only hurting me. Forgiveness was the key to moving on. One day, I received a letter from Elowen. She was living in another state, working as a waitress. She apologized for everything she had done, for the pain she had caused me. She said she understood if I couldn't forgive her, but she wanted me to know that she was truly sorry. I read the letter with a sense of detachment. I didn't feel any anger or resentment, only a faint trace of sadness. I wrote back to her, telling her that I forgave her and that I hoped she found peace and happiness. It was the closure I needed. I closed the chapter on my past and embraced my future. I learned that life is full of surprises, both good and bad. But it's how we respond to those surprises that defines us. I chose to respond with resilience, with forgiveness, and with hope. And in the end, that's all that matters. Summary. Brennon, a 46-year-old graphic designer from Chicago, discovers his wife Elowen's affair with Kyler. The revelation shatters his world, leading to divorce and emotional turmoil. Brennon hires a private investigator, August, who uncovers the affair and Kyler's embezzlement. Elowen faces legal trouble and Brennon, despite his pain, helps her avoid jail time. The story culminates in divorce, Kyler's downfall, and Brennon's journey to healing and forgiveness, emphasizing resilience and hope. He moves on, finding peace and happiness, proving that even after profound betrayal, life can be rebuilt. This is a tale of heartbreak, deceit, and ultimately, the strength to overcome and find a brighter future. Remember, even in the darkest times, your ability to heal and move forward is your greatest strength. Never let betrayal define you.